All right, guys, it is officially draft month, so let's do another Green Bay Packers mock draft. This will be version 8.0 and also the third version that we started including trades. We are just 3 weeks away from the draft. I feel like this time has flown by since we started diving down into the draft content. So this will be one of the last 4 mock drafts we'll have on this channel. I appreciate all the endless support on the mock drafts. It's one of my favorite things to do on this channel. I love diving down into all the draft content, learning the prospects with you guys as well. I also do other draft content such as prospect spotlights or looking at other mock drafts. If you have a certain prospect that you want me to take a look at and say break down some film, let me know down in the comments below. And also click the subscribe button if you haven't already to have everything Green Bay Packers all in one spot. I just noticed that over 50% of my viewers are actually not subscribed to the channel, and a lot of times I see comments of people saying, oh, I didn't even know I wasn't subscribed. So if you could just go down, click the subscribe button. It's free. It supports the channel a ton. Thank you, guys. All right, so without further ado, let's dive down into the mock draft. Let's bring up the screen, and as always, we're on the PFF mock draft simulator, and they've done a few adjustments lately. I think the past 3 to 4 mock drafts, you've been able to move a slider more towards the public board rather than the PFF board, which I like doing because it kind of gives like an average rather than just going by PFF board, which is a good thing. So right now we sit at pick 25 per usual. So we're going to let these picks run, but if certain prospects, I have a whole list written down here on a notepad for all these rounds. If certain prospects hit certain points that I really like, I'm definitely going to try to either trade up or trade down. So let's get to that point. All right, so I stopped it at pick 19 because there is a particular player on the board that if he falls to around 18 or 19, I think you have to trade up and get this guy. So looking at the picks before this, Caleb Williams at 1, Drake May at 2. I still think it's going to be Jaden Daniels at 2, but it is still kind of up in the air at this point. Malik Neighbors at 3. Now, this is something that I keep seeing is Neighbors going over Harrison Jr. I doubt the Patriots go wide receiver here, but I do see Neighbors over Harrison Jr. sometimes. I'm a Harrison guy. I think he will be the top receiver in this class. So the Cardinals to get him there at 4. Brock Bowers at 5 to the Chargers. Alt to the Giants. Roma Dunze to the Titans, Jared Verse to the Falcons, Dallas Turner to the Bears, Quinyon Mitchell to the Jets, Jaden Daniels at 11 to the Vikings. Man, that would be a steal for them at 11. I don't see him falling all the way to 11. McCarthy at 12 to the Broncos, Latham at 13 to the Raiders, Fatanu at 14 to the Saints, Fuaga at 15 to the Colts, Fashanu at 16 to the Seahawks, Cooper DeJean at 17 to the Jaguars, and Byron Murphy at 18 to the Bengals. So we're sitting here at 19. Well, the Rams are sitting here at 19, and we have a lot of draft capital. The Packers have 11 total picks, tied for first in the NFL. So if Brian Gutekunst wants to move up, say in the first round, say if a certain prospect who on a lot of people's boards is a top 12 prospect is sitting here at 19, I think you have to do that at a decent position of need. So going by the Rich Hill draft value chart, we're not going to be using PFF's trade simulator because it's just not realistic at all. Like you can get you could trade up way too easily and you can trade down and get so much value. That just simply wouldn't happen in the NFL. But going by the Rich Hill chart, to go up from 25 to 19, it would take pick 88. It would take a 3rd round pick to move up those 6 spots in the first round. And I think that's worth it, right? The Packers have 2 3rd round picks. They have 88 and 91. The Packers are just loaded with draft capital in the top 100, 5 total picks. So if it's worth it for Gutekunst to move up in this draft, I think right around 18, 19, 20 is definitely that mark because it just takes a 3rd rounder. So we go ahead and offer that trade and we see who is on the board, and that is Terrion Arnold. Now, he's someone that generally isn't available in our mock drafts because, to be honest, I think he is cornerback number 1. It's an argument between him and Quinyon Mitchell, but Arnold was at Alabama, right? He played much higher level of competition and was still one of the best cornerbacks in college ball, right? Last year, 88.4 PFF grade. He allowed 2 touchdowns, had 5 interceptions. The guy's a ball hawk, allowed a 50.7 passer rating. Run defense grade, 90.6. This dude can come down and definitely make a tackle. Only allowed 51.9% completion percentage, coverage grade of 84.9. And the beauty of Terrion Arnold is I think he aligns perfectly with the slot cornerback at the NFL level, and that's exactly what the Packers need to upgrade. Yes, they re-signed Keyshawn Nixon. Yes, they said he's going to be his starter, but you need competition in the room. Plus, Terrion Arnold has versatility. Like, you could play him outside if you need to. They have Jair, they have Carrington Valentine, they have Eric Stokes, and I know you might be saying, hey, well, the cornerback room, it's not that bad. but I still think it could use a big upgrade. Valentine was a 7th round pick last year. Who knows if he continues the level of play or if he, degrades at any point for this next season. Who knows if Eric Stokes can even play this season or if he gets hurt again or another injury to Jair Alexander, right? We need more depth. We need more talent. And Terrion Arnold, in my opinion, is the number 1 cornerback in this class. And I think this is an absolute steal at pick 19. Arnold is a tremendous athlete, a 9.24 RAS, 5'11", almost 6 foot. So if you're worrying about the Packers threshold and whatnot, I don't care. 189 pounds, 40-yard dash of 4.5, but really good at the 10-yard split, 1.52, so quick burst off the line. Great explosion grade, 37-inch vertical, 10'9" broad jump, great 3-cone, and a good shuttle grade. So to me, I think Arnold is just tremendous value here at 19. And yeah, Nate Wiggins is on the board, but he just really doesn't fit that Packers mold, in my opinion. More so someone like Terrion Arnold does. And yeah, Kool-Aid McKinstry is someone that we probably could have had at pick 25, but I'm much higher on Arnold, not only because he's the better of the 2 cornerbacks, but he's going to be a slot cornerback in the NFL. He's going to be a very good one, and that's what the Packers defense is missing. No discredit to Keyshawn Nixon. He has some good games here or there, but he's a returner in my eyes and a depth cornerback. He's not that guy that's going to take you to the next level on the defense at slot. I think Terrion Arnold is. So pick 19, we traded up and we are going Terrion Arnold, cornerback out of Alabama. All right, so before we dive into the second round, I wanted to remind you guys, thank you to Sleeper. I'm still giving away this signed Packers Lucas Van Ness jersey here, and it's very easy to enter. Simply go down in the description, download the Sleeper app, and make a first-time deposit. And doing so will also get your first-time deposit matched using code BASS, B-A-S, up to $500. So it's a win-win. Go download Sleeper, make a first-time deposit. You can use the Sleeper app. It's very easy to use. It's a fun app. You can choose higher or lower on any given stat of any of your favorite players. In a multitude of sports, you can choose between 2 to 8 players, and you can win up to 100x your money. Entries can be made in 30 seconds or less, and there's also safe and fast withdrawals. I'm doing this giveaway for the month of April, the signed Lucas Van Ness jersey, and I may actually add another item to throw in to give away as well, so be on the lookout for that, and definitely go download Sleeper, sign up with code BASS, make a first-time deposit, get that deposit matched up to $500, and you'll be entered in this giveaway and any other giveaway I do through Sleeper. So guys, definitely don't miss out on this opportunity and go download Sleeper. Thank you to Sleeper for sponsoring this video. All right, so now we're on the clock at pick 41, and a player I was targeting at 41 was Jordan Morgan. I don't know if I've drafted him in a mock draft yet, but I think he's going to be a tremendous guard at the NFL level. He is too short of arms to really play tackle, in my opinion, and I just think he'll be a better guard at the NFL level, but he was selected at 38. He is definitely a trade-up opportunity there, but because I already gave up a 3rd round, I wasn't going to trade up again. But since Jordan Morgan is gone, I know a lot of people always talk about Braden Fisk. I'm not necessarily sure I'd want to take a defensive lineman at 41. So 41 here, the way the board fell is kind of a trade down opportunity. I really like a lot of players around the 50s and 60s more, which we also have a pick there as well. So if we could kind of double that up in the 50s to 60s, I think that would be really valuable. I do like Chris Braswell. I like Braden Fisk. I like Sumatia here, tackle out of BYU. There's a few players I do like, but down this list, there's a lot more players I like Cooper, Hicks, the Mutant, Marshall Nealon, Amagaji. There's a lot of players down here I like a lot better. So I am going to try to trade down with the Cleveland Browns. They're all the way at pick 54. They have a need for defensive linemen. Braden Fisk is at the top of the board here. So in terms of the trade value here, we'd swapping 41 for 54. We'd also be picking up 85. So then we'd be back to having 2 picks again in the 3rd round. We'd also be giving 202 and 245, which I'm completely okay with. So let's go ahead and offer that trade. It is accepted. Let's get to our pick. And the Browns did indeed select Braden Fisk there at 41. So realistic. So now we're on the clock at 54. We also have a pick at 58, and man, there is a ton of talent here. And this is what I meant by, getting down to the 50s and 60s. There's a lot of guys here that I really like. You even have Jonathan Brooks. You have Amagaji, who I think I got in the last mock draft. Marshall Nealon, who's someone I've been targeting as of late. Chris Jenkins, the Mutant, probably the best run defender on the defensive line in this class. Jaden Hicks, who we've targeted in multiple mock drafts lately. You have Edgerrin Cooper as well, a linebacker who I made a video on. And yeah, he reminds me a lot of Quay Walker, but I think the value here at 54 is really good for Edgerrin Cooper, and the Packers have a need at linebacker, right? They need to add another couple bodies into that room, and although Edgerrin Cooper isn't the strong side backer that the Packers technically need right now, I think Isaiah McDuffie can play that. I still also think the Packers could get another linebacker in this draft class, but nonetheless, you need to add more athletes, you need to add more depth to that linebacker room, and I think Edgerrin Cooper is exactly that. I talked about him a lot in mock drafts. Like I said, I made that video on him, so I'm not going to go too much in depth talking about Edgerrin Cooper here, but I think he fits the Packers. And a lot of people, like I said, would argue, oh, well, he's a weak side backer just like Quay Walker. I think Quay Walker can play the mic, in my opinion. I think he can have a green dot on his helmet, and Jeff Hafley could also put the green dot on Xavier McKinney if he really felt the need to. But the Packers moving to 4-3, if they're in a base defense, they need another linebacker, or else we're going to have Eric Wilson out there, which is okay. He's a good depth guy, but not starting. And the Packers aren't going to run base too much, but if they do, you need more athletes out there, guys that can, cover tight ends, can cover running backs, but also fly sideline to sideline, and that is Edgerrin Cooper. So here at pick 54, we are going Edgerrin Cooper, linebacker from Texas A&M. Oh, man, I was going to go Marshall Nealand at pick 58. I was thinking, hey, Adisa Isaac's still on the board, so let me get Edgerrin Cooper right now because I thought he'd go between 58. And I thought Marshall Nealand will stay on the board. And he's someone that I've yet to mock to the Packers, and he just feels like a Packers pick. And it feels like what they want to add to that edge room. 6'3", 275 pounds, right? I just feel like the Packers want to add heavier defensive ends, switching to this 4-3. And man, I feel like Marshall Nealand would just be an outstanding pick there in the second round. He's a lot of people's one of their favorite edge rushers coming out of this class, and a lot of people believe he's going to be excellent at the NFL level, which I do agree. So for all the Marshall Nealand fans, man, I really wanted to get him here, and he got picked one before. But since we couldn't get Nealand, why don't we add to the defensive line anyways? And this is someone I mocked the Packers a couple times early on, but kind of took, a mini break from. Like, I haven't looked too much into Chris Jenkins since then, but man, he is the best run defensive lineman in this class, in my opinion. Nephew of Colin Jenkins, we all know how important he was to the Packers defense. Son of Chris Jenkins Sr., of course. 6'3", 305. Like I said, the Packers need to add one more defensive lineman, specifically one that can defend against the run. If you add Chris Jenkins into a room of Kenny Clark, Devontae Wyatt, TJ Slayton, Carl Brooks, I think they're going to move Wooden out to edge, or out to defensive end, should I say. So he can kind of replace those snaps, and he's a great run defending defensive lineman for early downs. The Packers have struggled early downs against the run, and I think Chris Jenkins could come in and help tremendously against that, right? 12.6% run stop rate last year. Also 11.0 pass rush win rate with 2 sacks last year. So he can get after the passer as well, but an 82.3 run defense grade. The Packers have multiple defensive tackles that are pass rushers. They have Kenny Clark, Devontae Wyatt. I guess you could even consider Carl Brooks one of them. They need more run defense guys to add to TJ Slayton. So now Chris Jenkins into that room, man, that would be very scary. You're adding Terrion Arnold, Edgerrin Cooper, and Chris Jenkins. Man, you're giving the 3 exact tools and pieces this defense really needs to this Jeff Hafley defense, so I'm all for it. So here at pick 58, we are going Chris Jenkins, or the mutant defensive lineman out of Michigan. Now we're back on the clock at pick 85, and you might be thinking, you gotta go offense here, right? You gotta start adding some offensive linemen in the rounds that the Packers love to draft offensive linemen, the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th round. And I think this is a perfect spot for a particular offensive lineman that screams Green Bay Packer, and that is Dominic Punai from Kansas. And Punai is a versatile lineman that can play either tackle or guard. Last year he played left tackle. The year before that he played left guard, and he didn't allow a single sack in both seasons. A pass block grade of 90.4, a true pass set pass block grade of 86.7, also a nice run block grade, 72.3. He's 6'5", 320 pounds, and we see here Punai is much improved from 2022 to 2023, and if he continues on his current trajectory, he has the power profile and size to earn a rotational role at guard with starting potential, and that's what the Packers need right now. They need competition at guard with Sean Ryan, and also at tackle. They need a guy that could potentially fill in at tackle if one of those guys gets hurt. At left tackle, at Rasheed Walker, right? Dominic Punai could do that. And I still think, the Packers are going to draft multiple offensive linemen here. And we know, the Packers are just obsessed with versatile offensive linemen. And out of all these guys available, Mahogany, more of a true guard. I don't know if the Packers necessarily draft true guards. Van Pran, a true center. McCormick, a little bit of versatility, but mainly a true guard, where Punai has that versatility, could play swing tackle in a pinch. So At pick 85, we are finally going offense, and we're going Dominic Punai, tackle from Kansas. So we're back on the clock at 91, and I think I'm going to do another trade down, kind of a package trade. I'm going to package 91 and 126 for 2 picks right around the 110 mark, where I have 2 prospects that I really like. There are some options here, right? You could go Trey Benson at running back, Bucky Irving at running back. If you think running back's a third-round need for the Green Bay Packers, you could go wide receiver like Brendan Rice. You could go safety, Kalen Bullock, Deidre Taylor Demerson, who I really like. You could add another slot cornerback, which we already got Terry Arnold. So as much as I love Jerry and Jones, probably not a thing there for the Packers. You could go Van Pran at center. There's actually another guy that I'm eyeing that I like better than Van Pran a little later. So let's get into the trade. So it's going to be a trade with the Los Angeles Chargers, and it's going to be 105 and 110 for 91 and 126. It's about exactly the same exact point value on the Rich Hill chart. So let's go ahead and offer that trade. So we're on the clock at 105, and the center I was talking about that I like better than Cedric Van Pran is Bo Limmer from Arkansas. Last season was his first start at center. The year before that, he started at right guard, so there is that versatility again. But I believe he's a center at the NFL level, 6'5", 307. He had a 74.5 grade last year, 77.6 run block grade, a little bit low on the pass block grade, 61.5, and did allow 3 sacks. But one crazy thing about him, look at his RAS, a 9.79. If you haven't noticed it already, man, this is insane. 39 bench reps. Wow. 36.5-inch vertical for a center. 9'2" broad jump. Elite shuttle. Elite 3-cone. And ran a 5.22, but his splits, his 20-yard split and 10-yard splits are very nice here. He absolutely blew up his testing, and not enough people are talking about it. And I think he's tremendous value here in the 4th round. And the Packers drafting 3rd to 4th round linemen just makes sense in this draft. If they don't get their Graham Barton in the 1st round, or maybe even a Jordan Morgan, it just makes sense in this 3rd to 4th round. So we're going back-to-back linemen with Dominic Punai, who can play tackle, could play guard, and Bo Limmer, who can play center, can play guard. It just makes sense. The Packers need more depth there. They love their versatile guys. So at 105, we are going Bo Limmer, center out of Arkansas. Now we're at pick 110, and the other player I was adding, you might be wondering at this point, wow, he hasn't gone safety yet. You know, I love to go safety. And that is going to be Cole Bishop from Utah. I know a lot of people like Cole Bishop. He also tested very, very well and seems like a Packers type of pick. You know, 6'2", 207, versatile type of guy. 247 snaps deep, 180 in the box, some snaps in the slot. Not the best PFF grades last year, but again, PFF doesn't mean everything, right? He still only allowed 14 receptions on 26 targets, a 67.8 passer rating allowed, had 2 interceptions. He had 47 tackles with 9 missed. And taking a look at his RAS, man, 9.88, 6'2", 206, 39-inch vertical, and he's fast. 4.45 is quick for a safety, right? Safeties tend to have that 4.5 to 4.6 range, a lot of them. Elite speed, good 20-yard split, good 10-yard split. I just love the thought of Cole Bishop in this defense. He's a smart safety that can attack the ball, right? He can line up and cover running backs, cover tight ends, go in and help during rundowns, be the box safety that the Packers need right now. They really don't have that. I think Anthony Johnson Jr. could help and could do it somewhat, but I think Cole Bishop is just better suited for that. He could go down, lay down some big hits on some running backs, but also help cover sideline to sideline, kind of be like that safety linebacker hybrid on passing downs or early downs to help against the run as well. So he's someone I don't think I've mocked to the Packers yet here in our mock drafts yet. And I do really like him, and I do want to do a prospect spotlight on him. So if you want to see that, let me know down below. But at pick 110, we are going Cole Bishop, safety out of Utah. So we're back on the clock all the way at 169 in the 5th round due to some of the trades we made. We had to wait over 50 picks for our next pick, and we didn't really have much value or ammunition to move up yet again. So we're here at 169. There's some quarterbacks on the board with Austin Reed, Joe Milton. I do wonder if in the 5th round, if the Packers would go someone like Joe Milton. Gutekunst said he wants to keep adding quarterbacks into that room, and the Packers' history of drafting quarterbacks and then ending up trading them for better value has been great. But I'm not necessarily sure I'm going to go Joe Milton here at 169. There's some other options on the board like Braden McGregor, who I've drafted before and who I do like. But under the pretense of adding the mutant, Chris Jenkins, I think Colby Wooden would slide out to defensive end. So that room would have then right now with Enigbari hurt, Preston Smith, Gary, Lucas Van Ness, Wooden, and Brenton Cox Jr. So, yeah, you could add a guy like Braden McGregor here. You could add Tareeb Still, who the Packers met with. He's a slot cornerback, but we already added Terry Arnold. You got a tight end like A.J. Barner, true inline blocking type of tight end for your number 3. You could add Jaheim Bell. This one's very interesting. I think he's a jack of all trades type of fullback, H-back guy. You could play him honestly anywhere. This is definitely an interesting option here. Jaheim Bell, he's someone I haven't dove down in too much for the Green Bay Packers. We know how much the Packers, or Matt LaFleur, should I say, like their H-back type of tight ends. But I think I'm going to double dip into safety because I just like Malik Mustafa too much. And I know I just went Cole Bishop, and he's going to be your box guy. And Malik could do it as well, but I think Malik's more of that traditional 2-deep safety look where he could start deep but also fly up with his hair on fire, like Jeff Hafley likes to say. That term, play with your hair on fire, I think that is literally written for Malik Mustafa. 5'11", 207. I mean, this guy, I think he's tremendous value in the 5th round. His RES 9.37, not the fastest guy. 4.54, but great 20-yard split. 5'10", 209 pounds, but still 22 bench reps. But his explosion, man, is just off the charts. 41.5-inch vertical, 10'6" broad jump. If we look at his stats last year, 79.6 PFF grade, 62 tackles, 11 missed. Run defense grade, 87.5. A lot of passer rating of 79.0. Had an interception, 3 forced incompletions. We could see he played a lot in the box. He played some deep. He played in the slot. Another guy you can just move around. If you add into this defensive backfield Malik Mustafa, Cole Bishop, and Terry Arnold, man, that is insane. I would be so ecstatic with those 3 additions. So here at 169, we are going Malik Mustafa, safety out of Wake Forest. Here in round 6, we're going to get a linebacker. We're going to go Trevin Wallace. This is going to make this short and simple. A lot of people have him all over the place. I've looked at certain rankings. Some people have him in the top 100. Some people have him in the 3rd round, 4th round. Some people have him in the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, like he is here. So I don't really know where to grade him. I really don't. I know PFF has him here at 236. That's probably too low, similar to a Katana Oladapo. Like, it's just simply too low. But who really knows? I mean, there's players like this every draft where you don't know where to grade them, and then they end up falling to the 7th, like an Anthony Johnson Jr. last year. So the Packers could definitely add 2 linebackers, and I think Trevin Wallace is someone they like. They had a visit with him recently, I believe. 6'2", 241 pounds, probably more of that strong side linebacker. Correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't done too much research on him, so let me know down in the comments, the Trevin Wallace fans. I know there's a few of you in my comments that are like, look into Trevin Wallace, look into Trevin Wallace. Well, here you go. We're drafting him in this mock draft. We're going Trevin Wallace, linebacker out of Kentucky here at 219. Here with our last pick at 255. We're not going to go Katana Oladapo like I do every time, just because I just don't see him falling to the 7th, and I've done it every time, and we already went 2 safeties. And last time I went 3 safeties, people had a fit. So we're not going to do that in this mock draft. We're going to go running back, which we have yet to do yet. This happens a lot where I do mock drafts, and it's like, okay, I could look at running backs in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, but there's so much more opportunity, other positions, and better talent, positions of more need in these mocks. So I just wait. Plus running back, I feel like getting them in the later round, sometimes you can just hit on them anyways. And I'm going to go Blake Watson. I believe this is probably the 3rd time I may have mocked him to the Packers, just because I think he complements our 2 guys well with A.J. Dillon and Josh Jacobs. Last year, 1,100 rushing yards, but he's a great receiving back. 53 receptions last year, 483 yards. The year before that, 37 receptions for 314 yards. Good rushing grade. Last 3 seasons, almost 1,000-yard rusher every single season there at Memphis. 5'9", 195 pounds, a little bit on the smaller side, but that's fine. Aaron Jones was, I believe, 5'9", 5'10 as well. So we are going Blake Watson with our final pick here at 255. All right, so now let's go over this Green Bay Packers 7-round mock draft version 8.0. Honestly, I think this is my favorite yet. It's a little bit of a recency bias, but I really set this one out. I wrote down a huge notepad of players I wanted to trade up for, trade down for, where the value's at, in my opinion. And I think I did exactly what I wanted to do. Yes, I missed out on Marshall Nealand, but outside of that, I think I hit on every player I wanted to in this mock. So we trade up in round 1 to 19. I think that's right around the spot that, hey, if the Packers want to trade up, it only costs a 3rd rounder, and there's a guy sitting there, and you want your guy. If it's Terry Arnold, I think that's awesome. And people might be saying, oh, well, they haven't met with Terry Arnold. They didn't meet with Jair Alexander once before drafting him. So it doesn't matter too much. Terry Arnold is going to be an excellent slot cornerback at the NFL level. You heard it here first, and I hope it's for the Green Bay Packers. So we went Terry Arnold in the 1st round, locked up that cornerback room in terms of the inside, but he can also play on the outside as well. Then we go Edgerrin Cooper at 54. Now, he's not someone that I had on my list for this mock, but he's someone that I like. And if he's sitting there at 54, I don't know if I could pass up that value. I think think Edgerrin Cooper could go in the 40s. I really think he could. I think a lot of people have him as linebacker 1. You know, there are some concerns there where sometimes he kind of looks lost on the play, but when he's on it and he's read and react and he goes and gets the ball or goes after the ball, man, this guy's dangerous and I really like him. Chris Jenkins at 58, the best run defending defensive lineman in my opinion in this draft class. This guy is an absolute beast down low against the run, and the Packers need that desperately. Then we go Dominic Punai at tackle at 85. This guy screams Green Bay Packer to me. I know there's a lot of linemen I say that for. It's mainly just the versatile ones or the guys that just are on the charts, like the RAS charts and every other like threshold for the Packers. And Dominic Punai is exactly that. Tackle, guard, versatility, could become our starting right guard over Sean Ryan day one. Then you have Bo Limmer, also center, guard, versatility, could become our future starting center after the season when Josh Myers likely is gone. And Bo Limmer had an absolute ridiculous combine and testing, and not enough people are talking about it. And this guy in the 4th round would be awesome value. Now included in that Bo Limmer selection, we actually traded down. We traded 91 and 126 for 105 and 110, allowing us to get Bo Limmer and also Cole Bishop. Cole Bishop's a safety that I like the thought of in this Green Bay defense as a box roll, 6'2", tremendous athlete, can come downhill, make a big hit, play against the run, cover up tight ends, cover up running backs. And then we double dip at safety with Malik Mustafa, who can kind of be a similar role, but also could be your other safety in a 2-deep look. So could Cole Bishop, but I think adding 2 safeties out of this draft class is kind of a must to add with Xavier McKinney and Anthony Johnson Jr. Then you have 4 solid guys right there, and you can kind of round out that back end of the defense. Then we go Trevin Wallace at 219. He's all over the place in terms of rankings. Like when I started seeing comments about him, I looked it up, and I was just like, I don't know where to put this guy because of all the different sources and so many different mock drafts and rankings that have him as high as the top 100 or as low as the 250s. It's absolutely insane. So I guess this is good value here at 219 for Trevin Wallace. I want to do a little bit more research on him. Then we go Blake Watson with our final pick at 255. A nice complimentary 3rd running back, receiver, good runner at Memphis. Like I said, it's a 3rd running back. The Packers have Josh Jacobs and A.J. Dillon, so I don't think it's a need to go 3rd round running back. Yeah, for the future, I get it. But with everyone else that we got on this board, I'm completely fine with going running back in the 7th. And Blake Watson, I do really like. So that does it for version 8.0 Green Bay Packers 7-round mock draft. I appreciate you guys coming by and joining this mock draft. Let me know down below what you think of it. What was your favorite picks? What picks did you not like? Were there certain prospects when I was on the clock that you want me to take a look at or you want me to potentially mock to the Packers? Let me know down in the comments below. But I appreciate you guys coming by. If you could, please leave a like down below. It supports the channel a ton. I'll catch you on the next one. And as always, go Pack Go.